Welcome everybody to another glorious day. Welcome to another Saturday. Welcome to the Rand and Tone Show. I am your host, Big Rand, along with my co-host, Tony Tone is in the house. Before we get started, I always would like people to know if you're feeling that you need a boost in your life, you need a little energy, make your way over to the Juices for Life bar located on 1026 Castle Hill Avenue, Bronx, New York, 10472 area code. Juices for Life. Helped me out a lot, gave me a little boost in the energy I needed, and helped me take out some of this nastiness I had in my body. You about to say something, bro?
Yeah, I was about to say you got to make sure you tell them that boost costs extra. It do.
The boost
The
do
boost
cost
of the
extra.
energy costs extra
It
because it's an
does.
additive to the smoothie.
Yes, it is.
So
But
when
it's
you
well
get
worth
there
it.
and get a smoothie, say, "Oh, I want the smoothie." Rand was talking about it. They say, "Okay, smoothie gonna cost you $8. $8? Wait a minute. Well, you want the smoothie he was talking about? That has extra ingredients. So
Well,
make sure you be careful about what you order."
My
That's
thing
all.
is your drink. The drink you want should go by the price you could afford.
Yeah, definitely that.
I
Because if
do
you can't afford it,
believe-
you can't get it.
I do believe at the price they have, you should be able to get yourself a wealthy drink. Now let us begin today's discussion. So about 2 years ago, there was a young lady who lost a son who was subway surfing on New York City subway trains.
Subway surfing.
After looking into certain situations that she had, she realized that her son had downloaded certain apps to his phone that she knew nothing about. So I don't want to say the app's name. I don't want to, go through a lawsuit, but I just want to say this. When you buy your child a phone, usually people buy a phone because they want their child to be able to keep up with them, or you want to be able to keep up with the child. You want certain things, maybe after school or whatever. But once you get the child a phone, if you're not checking to see what's actually on the phone,
Well, we're not going to say checking. In
Okay.
this case, we're going to say monitoring.
monitoring. Because he's 14 years old at this point. So my question, well, not my question, my statement is at 14 years old, he should have been monitored. And I agree with you on that one. And then the time of him subway surfing had me a little off. I don't want to get too much into the detail because the story's basically not about the child, although the child is the subject. It's about the after effects of the mother and how she was feeling. I guess at this point, she was so upset with herself, her child, for doing the things that he did, that she decided that she wanted to sue these platforms. Now, these are two major platforms in the streaming area that a lot of kids watch. Dancing. You got a lot of families who do a lot of things on these pages. I'm not giving out the apps because, like I said, I don't want to make it seem like it's the app fault, because even though I'm not sure the mother has the right to sue, or I'm not sure if that's coming out right, I still have to give the streaming platform a little bit too, because you allow these type of videos to maintain on your website knowing that it could cause damage to these young kids, especially the ones that you know. I'm talking about things like subway surfing. The subway surfing, the certain erotic dances that are seen, they're seen. Because even when I'm, with my 8-year-old, she's flipping through her channels, I can see certain things, certain language, and you be like, hey, man, you got to turn that. And it's all innocent dancing, but for an 8-year-old, thrusting your hips is not something that makes me comfortable as a dad. That's just me. I don't want to put that on nobody else. That's just me. That makes me uncomfortable as a dad to have to sit here and witness my 8-year-old thrusting her pelvis area. That's just a little disturbing to me. And then there's other things that they follow, words, because people believe when you watch these kid shows, certain families who come on, you got these families who come on these platforms and they're doing ghostly stories, and then there's certain words that are used that sometimes I don't guess they realize they're using, but these platforms allow certain things to go through. So I can't just blame the mother on her initial reaction.
You wait.
Go ahead.
You know the word that comes to mind is parental guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And with most phones and most electronics, they have that.
Yes.
So even listening to your own personal situation, you could have blocked that.
I
There's
did.
certain things you could have blocked.
I did.
Okay. I just
So
wanted to throw
even-
that in there because that seems to be what's missing here. On a lot of kids seeing things that they shouldn't normally see, or the parents, I'm going to say the parents don't want them to see.
That's true.
You paid for the phone,
That's true.
so you can restrict certain things.
Right.
I'm going to start with that. I'm going to let you go on.
Now, even with parental guidance, there are certain things that still get through. There are certain things that still get through because you may seem it as parental guidance for you, but it's according to the company and the app who's promoting the video. If they don't feel like it has any type of
If they
negative,
don't feel,
if they don't feel
I
it
think
has,
there's a, not to cut you off, but I think there's a line that you would have to cross to go from being parental and then being not parental.
well, so here's how it goes. When you're parental guidance, you can either lock the whole thing, or you can lock just certain shows that you don't want your child to watch. I like to lock the whole thing. But even with the whole thing locked, there are certain things. It's just like when we do our show, and when I go to upload, there's a button that says it is restricted for kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I put yes, it's restricted for kids because I can't remember if we might have used foul language or said something that we shouldn't have said that might be inappropriate for a kid to hear. Now, we're normally not like that, but that's protecting the rights of a child. Because then that means to me that, okay, if it's restricted for kids, that means the parents should listen to it before they listen to
I was
us.
just about to say that because that parental should go both ways. If the producer of the situation is trying to perform parentals, not wanting the children to see certain things, because when you watch things on TV, you do see that it pops up not for children or
Not for
whatever.
children, yes.
But a parent cannot rely only on the company to do their restrictions for your child. So that goes both ways.
Does the company play a part, though? Does it play a small part, an intricate part, a large
Depending
part?
on how their expression goes, depending on how their production goes on their content.
We've seen a lot of stuff, too, that we can't understand. Like, damn, how the hell did this... And it gets millions of views.
Yeah,
But I've seen
things have popped up on my phone that I almost dropped the phone because I was like, wait a minute, I don't look into stuff like this. Why is this popping up on my phone? But then again, I don't have parental restrictions on my phone.
on my phone, right? Because
So that
you're
means
in-
all adult content can be.
it can be viewed.
Yeah,
Right.
can be viewed, but that's not willingly. I didn't willingly ask for that. I'm talking about sexual things that popped up on my phone where they're showing strictly body parts. That hey, what is that doing?
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
Something
But where women, men, body parts are shown
Yeah.
directly on your phone, and you don't even know who's. I could be watching my phone with my child,
I'm not gonna
and
lie.
then that pops up.
You're right about that because I'm not even gonna lie. There was one time I was searching through a certain app, and sexual content of so much of
Very
porn
explicit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
popped up on my, and I was shocked. So now I got to put the parental guidance on my phone because there are times that my children do use my phone.
Yeah, and I have showed the photo on my phone one time, and then showing the photo, it jumped to something, and the person said, "Yo, look at your phone." I'm like, "Oh my God!" I was almost embarrassed because I don't look at that. The person will look at you, "Well, damn, that's what you into."
Did you download that? Yeah.
No, it
no,
was not
that's what I'm
download. I
saying.
was-
The person would say to you,
Right, that
Did
person
you
not even
download?
saying that, thinking that,
Right.
thinking automatically, "Oh, damn, well, that's what he do in his off time."
and
or
it's
whatever.
off time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just get back to the case of the lady with the young man. So the thing is, he was subway surfing. That's the first thing. Now, we did have a conversation prior to turning on the mics, and I think you made a very good point. How much does she hold her son validated for subway surfing? I mean, do you blame him to a certain extent? Because he wouldn't have learned it if he would have, let me just say this. We did subway surfing when we was a kid. That was around when I was a kid.
We as in who?
Certain friends I hung around. They rode the top of the train.
Oh, okay.
That was happening when I was a kid, and there was no social media influence around then.
Right.
And the kids would literally hold on to the back of the bus, literally. And I used to always tell people, like, you know, that ain't nothing new. Subway surfing ain't nothing new. What makes it difficult is because you have a lot of people online now who are watching kids subway surf.
A lot of that is also on the news too.
Right, right.
So that's intriguing. I mean, for certain kids, that's excitement and intriguing for them to see it. Oh wow, look at that! Yo, if I could do that, da 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 da. But I don't know. I that a lot of that still. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Still goes to the parenting of what's going on.
I think it's the fact of the child just is what they attach to. If they feel that it's relevant to them, they're gonna follow. And
they make it relevant to them. That's I was going to say silver.
He had to be fascinated with subway surfing.
But that's not relative to him though. He made it relative to him.
See, I think about that as a kid when I used to ride the back of the 36 bus. When you had to, you know, when you wanted to go across town, you play Webster, PAO. We rode the back of the 36 bus, cars beeping, but we did it. And you know what made me stop? And I know you're gonna understand this story very well. There was a young man who grew up in our neighborhood by the name of Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how Jerry got his condition?
No.
Jerry was the one whose legs were all bent in and broken and things like that.
Because of what? Riding on the back of the bus?
He fell off the back of the bus, got hit by a car. That's what made me realize how dangerous riding the back of the bus was. Because in the old days, the buses had
hinges from the windows.
Hinges from the windows, and the back of the engine, you could basically pull the pad.
You had to watch about your hands getting burnt.
Yeah, your hands getting burnt, but you
rode holding on to that back.
People rode them buses, man. So I mean, the challenges of today for these youth, I'm not going to say I understand because I don't agree with a lot of things, but I see it. Social media has a big influence on our youth of today. Posting, reposting, tagging, comments, arguments, everything goes on social media directly or indirectly.
Has that become an activity for kids?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking in my mind, maybe if he would have been involved in, I'm going to just throw sports out there, maybe he wouldn't been looking into something like that.
Maybe he was. Maybe he just had a friend who probably did it, or he knew someone who posted it and saw it and looked like, oh man, I can do it too.
Was he by himself? It's a lot of factors.
I didn't
a lot
read,
of factors had to go into that. For you to say you're going to sue somebody, I don't know.
I didn't want to bring up the
very
fact
mixed feelings about that.
I didn't want to get too deep, but if you do want to get deep in the story, you can find the story in blacknews.com. That's blacknews.com. You can find it in there. This the 14-year-old who passed away subway surfer. I see. My thing is that we had in this today's society, even in our society when we was growing up, you had a lot of kids who were influenced by older kids, other kids. You know, a lot of kids nowadays get freedom more, where some kids don't get the same freedom.
Well,
and it's
for somebody to have time to look into that and have time to ride on. There's a lot of freedom there.
There's a lot of freedom,
and some depending on what parents you talk to, they restricted freedom because of situations like this, and that's part of it. That's part of monitoring. Is restricting some of the freedoms and the things that come with freedom. Is
that the lack of? Can we argue that might be the lack of NYPD being?
NYPD can't be everywhere. A lot of people wants to always run to, wasn't enough police around. Police can't be everywhere.
No,
like right
true.
now,
that's
ain't
true.
No police in here with us.
Right.
So something could transpire right in this park, and they say, how come there wasn't police present in the park? You
I was
can't.
just questioning.
Well, sometimes as
Because to get on
a,
top of the subway, that takes
doesn't take
time.
much. It doesn't take much. We've rode on the back of the train. I never rode on the top of the train. And as a kid, I rode on the back of the train, just holding on.
Holding
thinking
on
it's
to the
exciting.
gates. Yeah, I've done
I
that.
wasn't that spontaneous to want to ride on top and find out what happens and feel that breeze or whatever the thrill is for them to do that. That just wasn't me. I
We used
had
to do
my
that,
thrills,
too.
but I try to choose them. I try to choose them wisely.
Right. I mean, she's at the point right now. I guess, to me, and I don't want to say it because you don't want to kick a person when they're down. She lost her son, but I just don't think she's taking the right pattern. Because to me, it's like you rather would blame social media for what happened to your son instead of looking into yourself. And that's a hard thing to face. Some people may say, "Yo, you don't have the right to say that. You don't have the right to tell her how to grieve." But yet, why would you point a finger on something that you should have controlled
That you have control too.
and you have
Yeah.
control over?
Well,
You
or that
know?
you can take control or obtain control or whatever, because you can get more into your child's life and understanding where his focus and where his direction is at. Even if you're at work at the time, you can monitor what your child is doing while you're at work.
Right.
When I was younger, not to say anybody raised differently, I was mostly in athletic sports.
Right.
I had things to do while my mother was at work. That was basketball, football, those type of sports events. My mother tried to keep me into those things to keep my mind directed. But as I got older, well, I wasn't 14, but as I got older, I made my own decisions, whether it was right and wrong. That was on me at that point because I was of age. But as we talk about somebody 13, 14 years old, they require supervision. Even though at 13, 14, a lot of this younger generation think that they're grown at 13, 14.
Especially when they get out of school. Because there's a time frame from the time a child gets out of school to the time the parent gets home from work. And when you're 14 years old, I have to believe that you're that much responsible for your actions. I don't believe no one forced him to go subway surfing. I believe he did it on his own. Oh, our camera
Would you
froze.
say? Oh, it did. Would you say he was thinking something? I mean, he was. Did the record freeze?
Yeah, no.
Oh, the record still okay.
No, we still good.
But what I'm saying is it was it? You don't want to say thrill seeking,
Right.
but actually he was seeking something.
To
He was
me,
seeking something.
when you have things like that, I always say that the person followed. He had to follow someone. That's not something I believe a 14-year-old is going to get fascinated over
By himself.
right away. Yeah,
By himself.
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's not something people do by themselves.
it has to be someone who's already in the mix of doing it to say, you know what, yeah, let's try this. Because he had it. Come on now. How many of his friends were probably subway surfing at that time? I think about that I was thinking about that like, did you even ask any other parent? Did you ask anybody? Did you talk to
The
anybody?
first place you go is to his friends, his closest friends. Everyone, even a loner, has one person that they talk to, or one person that they confide in.
I just wanted to know how she came up with the conclusion that you should sue these two social media platforms. Like, I'm not understanding that when it was he clicked on like and subscribe, however he did it.
Are those two platforms the only two platforms that shows that?
No.
Right. That's
No.
my point. So why did
That's-
she stop there?
I don't know, because that's what she found. See, she didn't even know he had the platforms downloaded.
Right, but maybe if she would have came more as an advocate against it, I think she would have got more support. Just against it overall, not directing it towards one thing, but saying, listen, this needs to stop. Our kids are riding on trains, which is something that's very dangerous.
It is very dangerous.
Right. So to be more of an advocate against it, I think would have, in my view, would have been a more directive point to draw attention to it than to
That's
sue the social media
Yeah,
where
the
you can
price.
see it at. Yeah.
yeah, that
I don't know.
doesn't. Yeah, but then again, I gotta think about it too. How many how many videos are out there of subway surfing. And if the platform knows that it's bad, why doesn't the platform take it down?
A lot of times a platform will keep up something that's bad, so you have to keep it up front so people know what to go against. So, parents can look at it to see what the signs are, what time they normally go do the surfing on the train surfing or whatever.
Okay, that's a good
because
point.
you can't do that in broad daylight.
Right.
You're not doing that at 10 in the morning, 11 in the morning. I don't think they're doing it at them times, and they're not doing it probably on the weekday. Might be doing it on the weekend.
If
Are
I
they
recall,
Uh-huh.
it was done after school. Most of the videos, because I've looked it up a couple of them, and I was very disturbed. But most of them are done with young kids after school, and I mean, the thing is that they get on top of these trains.
Mm-hmm.
They're full stand straight up riding through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't. I haven't seen anybody subway surf through the tunnels yet.
Ooh.
But I did see, you know, these kids are standing full straight on the top, and to have nobody report it.
They're not stupid because I don't think you can do. You can't do that in a train because you can't stand full up on the train anyway. You probably can't even kneel that long because they have pipes and things that's going to come along.
No, these
So-
kids are fully standing straight
No, I'm
up.
saying under the tunnel. I'm saying.
No. I didn't shit. I thought to me, I thought subway surfing meant you had to lay down, not stand up. That's what I thought. I don't know. I was just surprised because I really wasn't
How
into
you
it.
gonna lay down surfing?
Because yeah, I thought about it. Yeah,
Surfing's not laying down.
surfing's not laying.
So-
You're right. I don't know what I was. It wasn't. When I read the story, and I mean, I knew about the kids riding the trains, but I never really paid no attention to it to actually go to a video and watch it. So I just happened to watch a couple of them on a certain platform, and these things are getting 1.2 million views. They're getting views.
Okay, I just googled it, and it's I just googled it. Oh wow!
Yeah, these things are they're
Wait a minute.
those videos are.
Oh,
high
you know
demand.
what's crazy too? And what they have cartoons.
With it.
The name of it is Subway Surfer.
Yeah, the
So-
one where you run on top and collect the coins.
I don't know.
I play that all the time. Yeah, that's where the
okay.
one where the guy's being chased, and he goes up on top of the train. He does. You know what? That is. You're right.
Sound like you're
And-
advertising.
You're right. And you know what's crazy? And you bring that up. You see, this is why I like having these discussions because my daughter and I play that all the time. We play Subway Surf, and I don't even think nothing of it. I'm just thinking it's a game. You see, as a parent, you can learn new things every day because you never know what can influence a child to begin. That little beginning game right there, she could decide that, yeah, I want to go subway surfing. I want to be able to do that. Didn't think about that.
Yeah, because I just Googled it and it came up with about 7 different games.
Damn.
Cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anything.
And these are on your apps. These are regular apps that you can find in your mobile stores too. And they're free.
I just Googled it.
God
So you
Made me think. Made me get. I had to question
Subway Princess Runner.
my leadership.
It's oh man, yeah, collecting coins, running on the subway. Where do you start to delete? Where do you start to delete when they have cartoons projecting subway surfing? But that's not what we're talking about. But
No, but it all leads to the fact of being
Yeah.
influenced. You know, if a cartoon can influence a kid to run on top of a subway to collect coins, because
no, the cartoon would be the start when you're 5 or 6.
Right.
You're playing the cartoon, you're on the game, then all of a sudden you see the real life version. But there's no coins.
And I'm starting to think
But
about
there's no coins to collect.
as I'm sitting there. You know, I'm thinking about the game. I bought this game. Now, let me just say it. It's GTA.
Mm-hmm.
And GTA has all that stuff in it too. You subway surf, ride on top of cars, ride on trucks, jump in helicopters, jump out of planes. It's a whole lot. Yeah, I
Okay, so the two sites that she marked down as those that she's after.
yes.
What about the rest of them?
She never mentioned the rest of them.
But I'm saying, even if let's just say they did,
Even
pay,
if she target them two, you can't.
even if they did pay, what about the rest? So what
Right.
about everybody else? So that's why I say being an advocate for it is much better than trying to
sue.
because you can get paid off and then your voice will go away. But if you're an advocate for it and you really want to stand behind why your son died and all of that, then I would more be an advocate and grow a crowd with you.
Should it be just the two platforms she advocates?
No, you're
Because this
advocating
is
against the surfing, not against the sites.
right. But what part does the New York City Transit play in that?
They don't. They run the trains for people to get from one place to another. Where do they advocate riding on top of the train? They don't advocate that at all. They against that. They actually have teams to stop from doing that. I've seen a news broadcast on how they have a whole team, tactical team that focus on that.
So basically, this is a parent problem. Not monitoring correctly, because that's a hard thing to put on a mother.
It's not one
who
thing
lost a
that would
child.
stop that, because you have groups that are doing that. So it's not one thing. That's just like trying to find one method to stop crime. It's not going to happen. You have different crime elements.
Different crimes for different methods.
Exactly. So one method is not going to stop it. But
How do you stop subway surfing though?
Well, the way to stop it is to get into the parents have to do more. The police are already trying to do more. The websites can do more by restricting you're not going to get rid of cartoons that's making money. That's talking about things that are killing people. They're not looking at it like that. They're looking at it, oh, this is a cartoon. You shouldn't take a cartoon for real. But if people are really doing it, how could you? That's just like what's the name of that game where they run out there and kill people, steal their cars, and all that.
That's GTA.
No.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto. Oh, that's what
GTA.
I don't play that. That's
I know.
why
I
don't
know.
the
It's
abbreviation.
Grand Theft Auto.
But that's just like.
That's a serious game too.
Right.
It
But
is.
see how serious and fun it is? That same game is talking about taking people out of their cars, hitting them in the head, grabbing the old lady, and the old lady fighting back with her bag and beat the mess out of you to take her car back.
That's a good point.
So for hijacking, if a person's hijacked, God forbid he dies, so now you're going to go after Grand Theft Auto?
Right. That's a good point. I never really looked at it that. That's why I brung it up. Just to understand the concept of the suing part.
That's why it has to be the education instilled in a child and right and wrong and things like that and consequences, because you're not going to stop it.
I think I got a lot of educating to do myself, because just a couple of things that you brung up made me realize that, you can't throw stones without taking stones. And I just wanted to bring it up about the platform and things, and not realizing, I got to make a couple adjustments on my 8-year-old and 4-year-old and what they're watching and how they go about it. And because even though I restrict them a lot from using the tablet and the because their mother, she does a great job of setting that up for kids for them. But you still got to go to you go to the TV, and when you go to the TV, there's certain apps that you go to on the TV that pick up other apps. So and that parental guidance it just doesn't work, because even though you can do that, there's certain things that slip through the crack. Now, I'm not blaming nobody.
Right, it does work, but it you can't. It's not
has
a solution.
Flaws. It has flaws.
It doesn't have a flaw. You do it as a guideline where you're blocked on that part. You still have to do your part. You can't just click that button and say, okay, here's the phone. You're good now.
Touche.
Supervision should not, like I said, you can't rely on someone else's supervision for your child.
What attorney would take that case, though? Does that say a lot about the attorney who takes the case?
Attorney's going to take any case
Because
he
of
feels
the
he
money.
can get paid off of.
Right.
And there have been a lot of cases that you felt shouldn't have got paid on, but sometimes the company will pay you so you shut up
I've seen
because of bad publicity.
I've seen platforms stream live killings, and I hate to say it that way, but suicides, homicides, they have them streamed live. And I have yet to see nobody say, yeah, I need to sue them for showing this. And what people believe what cameras can do, some people don't like it. Some people applaud it because it lets you capture moments that you couldn't capture before. But then again, with these apps, these kids they're looking at a lot of things. It's a lot, man. I could imagine that as a mother. I can't imagine. Let me not say that. But I just feel what she's going through. I just didn't understand the fact of you trying to sue these two certain streaming apps and not take accountable for yourself, because I would have to say to myself, whether I like it or not, I would have to say, damn, I wish I'd have monitored his phone more. The fact that you monitor his phone after his demise and came out and said it, you admitted it in the article that you said, I didn't realize that he had the second app. I didn't know he had it. Which means that when you go to pay your phone bill, because I'm pretty sure he wasn't paying his phone bill, you didn't check your son's phone, because you can attach what your son watches through your phone.
Some things that some things done are not always billed. Some things are free. So a lot of these apps are free, so you won't see a bill to alert you that he's into something different. Now, if he's into porn, which might cost, then you'll see that. Because I know women have seen that on their bill, and it's on their husband's phone. Like,
but you can take your phone.
You down listing porn now?
You could take your phone and you can watch everything your child watches.
Right.
Without your
We spoke
child,
about that.
without your child even knowing that you know what they're watching.
But what does that take to do that? That takes guidance.
You buy the phone, so
that takes guidance.
That's true.
They figure they click that switch of parental guidance that their child is not going to get that kind of stuff. There's a lot of apps that are free. Like I said, the cartoon can start you off taking you there. You watching a cartoon or surfing on top of a train, and you see kids really doing that.
That was something that I thought was
Then you
crazy.
get to an age, and that's that rebellious age. I would say anything from 12 to 15 or 12 to 16, where you start going against what your parents is telling you. Start climbing out the back window when parents are asleep. Going to hang out with friends. All of that starts in them ages. I'm not saying
is it
put a
this
lock on the window
generation
and
or
doors.
the less monitoring? Is that this
Like I said, you
generation
need it all.
that just happens? Did that happen in our generation at
Of
times?
course,
too?
of
Yeah.
course. Man, listen, we didn't have alarms and cameras, so you get an alert when somebody's running in your backyard. You pick up
Right.
your phone while you're sleeping, and it's your son running out the back door.
Right.
We didn't have that back then.
You're right about that. And our Amber Alert was definitely different because you didn't have mobile phones back then. So your Amber Alert came over your TV or your radio.
Right. But you ain't gonna get an Amber Alert, or you're not gonna get an alert on your TV about your back door just triggered.
Yeah, you're right.
So I always said AI has its plus and its minuses. It's how you use it. It's just like a gun. A gun could be a positive thing, but it's how you use it. You use it in a negative way, then you just turned an instrument into a weapon. But you use it productive, where you're protecting your family, protecting your house or business or whatever it is, then the gun can become a necessity. And also based on the environment in which you live.
It just seems like every article I've been reading has been dealing with Trump and children of young age dying. And it's just sad. And like I said, I was going to bring up a report on child abuse and neglect. And what made me bring that up, not to change the subject, but it was just on my mind. There were 2 children recently who got beaten to death. And it bothered me so much because they were beaten to death by the mother's boyfriend.
Oh yeah, I did read one of those.
You know, and it disturbs me so much because first of all, as a man, how do you physically punch a child, 1 year old, 4 years old, repeatedly in the
I wouldn't say if
head?
he was a man, woman,
You know?
child, or any of that.
And it just makes me wonder about how we're talking about monitoring. And I don't want to make it seem like the women are at fault because they're not. It's somebody they probably thought they can trust, and that person just wasn't trustworthy. But you don't know that until you get into certain situation to know what trust and loyalty is. But in this case, when you get a boyfriend who's beat a child to death, I mean physically beat him with his hands, does that say a lot about the mother? Because if the baby was going through physical abuse, should it be believed that the mother was going through physical abuse herself?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility, and it's we have to be accounted for our choices that we make. That was obviously not a good choice. People will look into that and see, well, how long has he known the person? Does the person have his own kids? You know, is a lot of factors come into play to try to get an understanding on why this took place. Why did this child lose his life? Why did this child wind up with an individual that would do something like that?
Yeah.
And if this didn't like happen in one day.
Right.
I mean, it's not one day he just claimed it. He was a person, a stand-up person who always take care of the child, had the love for the child first and all of that, and then one day he just clicked. I don't think so.
Aggravation sets in?
No, I don't think so. This has been, I don't want to say a pattern, but this has been something that's been in this person already. You don't just, okay, let's just say you and I would trust you with my child and sure you would feel the same way based on how long we've known each other and how we've dealt with our own children. I would never, somebody was to tell me you just all of a sudden one day just beat the hell out of a child that was under 5 years old, whatever the age was, I wouldn't believe that. Because I would say that's not in your character. That's not a person I've known for over 20 years to do something like that. So I just say that to say what was going on in his mind. I mean, something had to been going on. If not that day or
all upside the baby's head. To me, that's more than something going on. That's one of those things where you must believe it had to be some type of vengeance towards the mother. Had to be. You can't tell me that a baby cried. Although, you know, my son did say to me that there are times that when the baby's crying and you go into a frenzy. Yeah, I do. But not enough that I want to beat him upside his fucking head, man. Of course you get aggravated with a crying child, especially if you can't stop him from crying. You offer him things, you know what he wants. Most people try the tendency of popping the child, thinking that if you pop the child while he's crying because he's crying for nothing, now you're going to give him something to cry for. But in all reality, we don't really know why the kid is crying because he can't stop long enough to let you know.
Well,
I've been through that.
That's where the patience of a parent come in. You have to be patient with the child
Yes,
to find
yes.
out what's going on. We've actually had that at times at the job where parents have brought their child in because he wouldn't stop crying. And most of the time, it's a pain that the child is feeling and can't explain it.
But was it a physical pain or
It mostly was something like an inner pain. It's not something you could see. Like you don't see it. It's not a bruise. Because the first thing you look for to see if the child was bruised or got some type of infection that's causing him the pain or whatever. So you start, depending on the age and the size of the baby, you start looking over the baby's limbs and finding out, does this hurt? Does that hurt? If you move the baby in a certain way, the baby will flinch. You know, things like that. That way you'll know the area of where the pain is coming from.
It just disturbs me that a grown man, and believe me, these men were over 22 years old, so they're grown. You have the knowledge to understand that you're hurting somebody else's child.
But before you go, see, that's why I said it's something behind the scenes, because before you go to that point, why not call the parent? Say, listen, I can't deal with this no more. Maybe she could say, all right, drop him off at my mother's house, and I'll pick him up on the way home, or whatever the case may be, or my sister, or my brother. But that time period that you took to abuse, I'm not going to say beat, that you took to abuse this child, there was other things that could have been done, other factors that could have been done. You could have made a phone call. You could have woosah'd. You could have went in the bathroom and just stopped your thoughts at that time.
Man. to me, it just seems like we come into a new world where children are trying certain things. Although this history definitely repeats itself, you know, kids subway surfing, men beating on kids that are not there. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a lot. It's so much controversy, so much pain, and it just seems like all the pain and sorrow falls amongst the children nowadays. It just seems that way. My opinion, no one else's. It just seems that way to me. Like the children go through a lot. They're suffering for what the parents can't endure. And that's hard to me.
That happens on occasion.
That's hard to me because, you know, it's not a child's fault if you're not capable of paying bills or you're not capable of keeping food on the table. You know, the child didn't ask to be here.
Yeah, that's weird. And I don't know if it's still spoke of now. They say it takes a village to raise a child.
It does take a village, but what if you don't have a village behind you?
Well, you have to seek one.
That's a good one.
You have to seek a village.
You have to seek a village.
You have to seek help.
How do you go about seeking a village?
Well,
friends around you, people around.
Friends,
okay.
And choose your friends and people wisely, and knowing who you can. You might need a break. You might need a break from your children. Hopefully, that you have the opportunity to have an aunt, a mother, or a sister who can take your children for at least a couple of hours to relieve some of the tensions that you're going through, especially with finances and things the way they are now, and all the cutbacks that's going to happen to working people and people that are not working.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You know, it's a lot of difficult things that's going on at this particular time.
It's getting difficult out here. It's not definitely living up to our days and times. We're definitely not. That goes for parents, children, people in charge. We're just not living up to our days and times. It's too many untimely and unwarranted deaths. It's too many. And then you and I hate to say this about the government, but then I don't believe the government reacts to certain things either. Like I told you the other day, we were sitting there, and the news flash came on about the Texas man who they executed. They executed him in an electric chair, and I thought it was cruel. Now, I'm not saying that he didn't deserve the death penalty. I'm saying it was cruel by the way he died, because you had to turn this electricity on this man 3 to 4 times before he died.
So the process of his execution didn't go well, basically.
Didn't go well, yeah. And look.
Some people put it on God.
Yeah.
Some people say God wanted him to suffer.
Yes.
God didn't want him to die fast.
But is suffering doing 30 plus years for murder? And like I said, people go to jail not for the crime, not for the death, for the crime.
Okay.
Not for the death, for the crime. It just seems like you are charged by how brutal or how insensitive the crime is.
Yeah, you can
not
get
by
more
the
time.
death.
You can get more time for a more brutal encounter or situation that you cause. Yes.
Because I told somebody I don't know the difference between a homicide and a murder, because to me it's the same thing. It's like somebody telling you, well, he assaulted me, but he also committed attempted murder. Well, isn't assault to a certain degree almost attempted murder?
It depends on how bad the assault was. If someone assaults you just with their hands, more than likely it won't be attempted murder. But if someone assaults you with a knife or a gun, then that would be attempted murder, because it's less likely. I'm not going to say unlikely. It's less likely for you to commit murder with your hands when you know you can.
But what if you beat a person to death?
Well, if it comes to that point, then yes.
There's accidental death. There's too many rules for criminal activities. Instead of keeping it all under one wrap, one belt, it's complicated.
No,
it's complicated.
It's as complicated as the crime is. All crimes are not point blank simple. Walk up, I pulled out a gun, shot this man, he died. That's it. Most crimes are not that. It's details. What led it up to that?
So you get punished for the crime, but the death goes unpunished.
The death does go punished,
because the death is a no point of no return. Some people after death have a chance to relive in society. They have a chance. Some people.
Well, that's the point I made when we had the conversation before, that they can go do 10 to 15, and they come out and see their family again, and also their family can come see them throughout the years. Even if they get 25 to life, the family members can still see them for that 25 years.
That's why I said a person doesn't pay for the death, he pays for the crime. Because the crime has a stipulation on it. Because with crime, it tells you that you can do a certain amount of years, but there's no numbers for death. People don't put numbers on the death, they put the numbers on the crime.
Well, the numbers go on to death because that's based on the person dying. Your numbers increase based on the person dying, as far as doing time. You can assault somebody and they don't die. Okay, they offer you 5 to 15. Assault the same person dying. Now you facing 15 to 25.
You once said to me that it takes a village, and sometimes you should seek a village. Well, it takes a village for death too, because here's the thing: if a death comes by the hands of another, then the other who's still around, who caused the death, should be taking care of the family that he took. Let me get that.
I know what you're saying. That he took from.
Right. That, to me, that's the punishment for death.
To make the person take care of the family that he left behind.
You should be committed to the family, because you took something from that family that you can't give back.
Right.
You can't. There's no amount of time you can pay. Even if you go to get death yourself, you still can't bring that person back.
Right.
But to be obligated to someone's family for a life you took, that's more strenuous than having to do any prison time, because every day you are the person who has to remind that person, you took this from me, and as the person who took it, you have to look at the family you took from.
Right.
I think that's
but most families who have lost loved ones due to someone else, the only payment they want is that person to be dead also.
I'm not saying that this should be a major. We all, like I said, we all deal with death in different ways. Everybody has their own perception of death and how it should be handled. Like I said, most people who feel when a person takes another person's life and it's in a brutal manner, yeah, they want to see that person suffer in a brutal manner too, because that is the manner in which you took a life. So if you feel that you could take a life in a brutal way, then you should be dealt with in a brutal way too. But then where does that put us in the eyes of God?
Oh, all I can say to that is that depends on your belief.
If you're telling us that it is wrong to commit death, but you're telling me that it's okay to be judged to be put to death, that's a double statement. That's what you would call a catch-22. Because you're telling us we don't have a right to kill, but you do, as long as we judge it fair.
Right. You had a fair trial. And the trial stated that you should be put to death due to your offense.
Right. But no matter how we look at it, death is wrong in the eyes of God, especially by the hands of another man. So if you electrocute,
it depends. To
or
me,
execute,
that would depend on your belief.
I'm telling you what my belief, my opinion. Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. My opinion, my beliefs. Because sooner or later, the person.
Some people believe an eye for an eye.
Of course, I mean, I believe that too, but I just don't believe it has to end in death.
So how could you believe in eye for eye if it doesn't appear in death?
So
Death for what was caused?
If I give you an example, if a person, and God forbid, decided to take someone I love in my family, first of all, the only option I'm going to have is either to forgive him or not. Because I can fantasize about hurting him, even if I get to him. And in my mind, I know I will be praying, Lord, let me get to him before anybody else get to him, where he can be put away where I can't touch him. Most people don't have that in them to go hunt for the hunter.
Okay, now listen to what you just said.
I did. That's what I'm telling you.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
You listen to what you just said. You just said that your belief is that having one death behind another is not fair in the eyes of God, in your eyes.
Right. That doesn't mean I was going to kill him.
So what are you looking for him for?
To take out my physical frustrations on him.
So
I would probably beat him half to death.
Why is it half? How do you know when to stop at half? That's the point. How do you know when to stop at half? So you saying you would pursue the individual
in rage.
So who says when that rage is going to cut off?
I don't know.
Because in your mind, you just thinking your child is gone. So why should he be here? And I got my hands on him.
Yeah, I probably would.
Okay then.
Murder is not something, or death is not something that I would want to face in the eyes of God. So I would be thinking about that the moment. That's always on my mind. Whenever I have to go into a battle where I feel my rage is going to overpower my mind, body, and soul, the first thing I always say is, Lord, you have the power to control my rage because I have not learned to do it.
But you have the choice.
Yes, I do have the choice
He
to
has the
follow
power
the rage.
to put it in your mind, but you have the choice. You
To
have the
follow
ultimate
rage.
choice.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. So that's why I always pray. But I can talk a good game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because this is you want to say the right thing in the eyes of God, but I don't know what I would do in that such a situation.
I have a question for you.
Just like I would know what I would do if I was the mother of the child who was hurt on the surfing, because I kind of do understand her suing. I'm just not understanding, why did you wait until after the fact?
That didn't even
Cross your mind.
That didn't cross my mind because I think she should have thought about it more.
Right. That's
And
my
That's
point.
just my opinion.
Better way
in
of
my
putting it,
opinion,
yes.
because that I don't know what she's hoping to accomplish by doing that. Is she hoping to? Okay, let's say those two
Platforms
those two platforms were shut down totally based on her suit.
based on what
What about the other 20,000 platforms that's doing the same thing?
Yeah, you're right about that.
They got cartoons doing the same thing, and that's what the defense attorney is gonna project. You're talking about these two platforms, but we have cartoons that's doing the same thing. Well, how are you blaming the cartoon?
I think everybody takes a small blame, even if no one wants to agree. I believe that the transit, the mother, the platform,
How
and
does
the
the
child.
transit take blame?
You know, in some ways, the New York City Transit knows that these kids are doing it,
Right, and they put forth a task force to stop it.
but then you raise money for people to ride the trains, knowing that you're not raising the money for safety. Instead of asking for more money,
So what? There should be barriers on top of the roof so they can't. I don't understand what solution
So my
could they
thing
come
is-
up with to stop them from riding the trains? That's what I'm trying to understand. What solution that the train people, that the New York State or whoever, even Japan that's making the trains, or China, wherever they come from, what are they going to do to stop people from riding the top of the train?
you know, that's a good point. I'm only
So I can't see them at fault. The
No,
most
I
they could do is
didn't-
put a task force.
I didn't say they were at fault. I say they play a small blame. Being
I
at
don't-
fault
how?
and taking a small blame, because you know this is a problem. This is a problem for New York City. You know, as a person who works on transit authority and you're the head man, that is something that should be in your
Okay.
in your daily talks. Like,
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
How many murders do we know happen in parks?
A lot.
Okay, so is the Parks Department fault? Should
No.
they take some blame?
No.
Because they put a park there?
No.
That's the same thing.
Okay.
They provide a
Touche.
train for people to get
Touche.
to work because people decide to do other things with the train that's harmful to their health. How is it their fault?
I was just thinking, man, if you're going to sue the platform, why not go all the way? But I do like your answer when you said how much is the child himself accountable for, because at the end of the day,
It's his actions that got him on top of that train.
Yeah, yeah. I hope she finds what she seeks, and I hope she doesn't unravel what she can't handle. That was good.
doesn't cause herself more.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying she doesn't unravel something that she really can't handle by going against corporations and things like that, because that's what it seems like she's trying to do. So be careful, because you've been